Hello, Booktube. For this tag Tuesday, I'm going to be doing the Procrast-Tag-ation tag. This tag was created by Matt Wall, Paperback Junkie, and I'll leave a link to his original video in the show notes down below. If I seem rushed in this video, I'm on a bit of a time crunch today. As I was yesterday, I'm going to be watching The Four Children of the Apocalypse, my two nieces and two nephews, probably in about an hour or so. So I wanted to go ahead and film this video and get it up. And I'm in a bit of a more of a time crunch today because I was doing some cooking earlier. So anyway, prompt number 1. A book you have that you've been putting off the longest. For this, I'm going to go with Beloved by Toni Morrison. This is a classic of American literature that I have put off reading for years. In fact, this book could also answer a later prompt in this tag because I had a copy of Beloved about 10-15 years ago and eventually let it go. I traded it back into Golden's Book Exchange and just recently repicked it back up. And I really need to get to Beloved. Prompt number 2, a book you are putting off because the author. For this, I'm going to go with The Line of Beauty by Ellen Hollinghurst, which I could also have gone for with the first prompt because I've been meaning to get to this book for years. But I don't have the best reading relationship with Ellen Hollinghurst. Every few years, I try to read all of his works, and then I end up bailing on the Swimming Pool Library, or this year I ended up finishing the Swimming Pool Library, but then bailing on the Folding Star and the Spell. So I really don't quite get on with Alan Hollinghurst, despite my attempts to get on with him. Prompt number 3. A book you put off because Booktube raved about it. Now, I don't have copies of this particular book, but Shuggie Bain by Douglas Stewart, and also Young Mungo by Douglas Stewart. Both of them have been incredibly popular on Booktube, but that popularity makes me wary because I don't necessarily have the best track record with books that are popular on Booktube. My tastes in literature are not typical for this corner of Booktube. Part of that could be my transition to more nonfiction, more history than fiction. That this corner of Booktube is, to a certain extent, more literary fiction, and I've always had trouble with literary fiction. There's a whole slew of things, but Young Mungo and Shuggie Bain are two books that I kind of am putting off reading, largely because they are so popular on Booktube. Prompt number 4. A book you were going to read but got rid of, traded, sold, lent out, that you say to yourself you'll get again. So this is the other prompt that I could have used for Beloved. But I'm going to go with a book that the same thing happened, that I was meaning to get to, and then I traded it in. And I kind of want it back, and that is Middlemarch by George Eliot. I've been wanting to read George Eliot for ages, and I've never really gotten around to it. And, well, I do have The Mill on the Floss. Middlemarch, I think, is her best, or at least that's been described as her best. So I kind of want to read that. And so maybe this Victober, or maybe I should just stick with The Mill on the Floss, depending on how my book buying goes. Anyway, prompt number 5. A book you've always wanted to buy but are sure there will always be affordable copies. So this prompt, I could have had a manga answer too, but it doesn't exactly fit because while the specific volumes I'm after, I'm holding off on, I am picking up other volumes in the series. In fact, I got 2 volumes in the series in today, so yeah, I'm not procrastinating about picking that series up. But I was also thinking about cookbooks. And so I'm going to go with the same cookbook I entered this prompt with last week or the week before with the Books to Die For tag. And that is Dessert Person by Claire Saffitz. I've wanted to buy this book for years now, and I just have never gotten around to doing it. Of course, I could just easily go on Amazon and buy a copy because, it is currently in press, it's in publication, it won't be that hard to pick up. But I just have this weird thing about collecting cookbooks that I want to collect cookbooks. I like to cook from cookbooks, but I also don't really want to. It's just I'm concerned. I'm worried about spending that much money on them and kind of not actually using them because while I do cook from them occasionally, I don't really cook from them enough to perhaps warrant actually collecting them, except for just the sheer fun of collecting them, if that makes any sense whatsoever. I think this is the 6th prompt. Yes. A book you put off because it reminds you of someone. So this prompt gave me some trouble because there isn't exactly a book that really reminds me of anybody. But then I was thinking of Elena Knows by Claudia Pinheiro. And I'm like, that one could work because it's about a disabled woman, although it's a medical condition more so than a physical disability. But the description of Elena kind of reminds me of my mom. And so I'm kind of a bit leery about picking it up. I've been thinking about it, but I just don't know because would that really, yeah. Because I think the situation in Elena Knows is rather similar to mine with my mom, except of course I'm still living well. But anyway, so I'm kind of not entirely sure about Elena Knows. Prompt number 7. A book you put off because you are waiting for the show or movie to come out. So for this one, I will answer with manga, even though whether or not actually wait for the show to come out before I get them or go ahead and get them now, I don't know. I do need to, one of the things I have been procrastinating about is taking a look at my manga, assessing the state of my manga collection, and making a video about it, which I think I might do on Monday. But I've been thinking about picking up or starting to collect One Piece by Eiichiro Oda and Yu Yu Hakusho by Yoshihiro Togashi. Both of them are soon to be made into series from Netflix. One Piece I know for sure is currently filming. I think Yu Yu Hakusho is filming as well. Not entirely sure. I think sometime next year will be when they release, but I kind of want to start on them, like actually collecting the volumes relatively soon. Although, particularly with One Piece, it's going to be an immense undertaking, but it'll be fun. And I'll talk a lot more about manga next Monday. I'll try to make sure to do that. Prompt number 8. A series you're putting off because of author changes. This prompt, I don't think I have quite an answer for. Nothing immediately jumped to mind when I was thinking about my answers to this. But I kind of realized also as I was picking up the books that I was going to show for this prompt that some of them could actually work for this prompt as well. And that is the animal series from Reaction Books. The animal series are a series of very slim books, usually around 200 pages, that focuses on a specific animal or group of animals. And it looks at the biology, the natural history, the cultural criticism, economic impact of the specific animal on topic and in varying degrees or levels or amounts. And some of the animal series I've read, I've liked a lot, and some that I haven't particularly cared for. And a lot of that is by author, because there isn't a single author writing these. There are a number of authors. Because I think the only a few authors I think have written more than one animal or one book in the series. So I'll go with the animal series by Reaction. Prompt number 9, a series you put off starting because of the length. For this, I'm going to go, again, I could have gone with a manga for this prompt as well. But then again, thinking about it, the length has never really been sort of off-putting for me when it comes to manga. I find reading a long manga or comic book series to be just fine. It's novels, it's prose fiction that I find more daunting. And for this, I'm going to go with The Wheel of Time by Robert Jordan and eventually Brandon Sanderson. This is an immense epic fantasy series of 14 volumes, and a lot of them are practically skirting 1,000 pages. And that is, I don't think so. Prompt number 10. A series you started and then put off because of book fatigue. So for this, I'm going to return to the Animal series by Reaction Books. So, hello, Spider. So occasionally I will get the desire, the want to start collecting these books again. I just recently picked up 2 and I have a third coming in sometime this week or early next week. But then I read one of them and it's just, I don't get on with it at all, and it completely kills my interest in picking up more of the series. Part of the reason why I'm holding up Spider by Katarzyna and Sergei Mikulski is because this was one of the books that killed my interest a few months ago in continuing collecting the Animal series from Reaction Books. Of course, I will be talking on Friday for Weekly Reads about the most recent book that basically killed my interest in continuing with the Animal series from Reaction Books. And finally, prompt number 11. Type of videos you put off watching, adding to your watch later list that ends up sitting there forever. For me, those videos tend to be convention videos. So basically, like, say, it's science fiction convention or like Worldcon or the Comic-Con or the convention that's associated with the nebula. Sometimes there are like panels associated with these cons. And they'll be put up on YouTube, and I'll find them in my feeds and I'll add them to my watch later list, but then I never get to them. And there are a lot of them in my watch later list, and I've not gotten to them, so definitely convention panels are my answer for this one. So anyway, Booktube, that was the Procrast-Tag-ation tag. If you would like to do this tag, consider yourselves tagged, and I will see you tomorrow with another tag video, because there are a lot of tag videos that have been coming out the last few weeks that I've been wanting to get to. So yeah. Any Booktube, I'm going to go ahead and sign up for now and try to upload this before I go to watch The Four Children of the Apocalypse. So until I see you tomorrow, Booktube, thank you, have a great afternoon, and stay safe.